So mass civil unrest and protest have hit the UK, all right? It has reached a breaking point. We've been talking about all these other things going on in the UK right now, but people are finally hitting the wall. They're finally reaching their limit, and people are freaking out, all right? In over 50 cities in the UK, there are massive protests and civil unrest going on right now. So the reason why this is happening is because the energy prices, the cost of everything is so high that people can't afford to even live anymore, all right? We were talking about how the British pound has been collapsing. It is at all-time lows compared to the dollar, and it's losing its purchasing power. And on top of that, the government is implementing all these new tax schemes and all these new taxes on top of people while they are experiencing inflation and price increases, all this stuff. Now they want to tax people even more, so the value of the British pound is collapsing right now as well. So people in the UK are getting hit left and right. Let me know if you're in the UK or in Europe, but especially in the UK right now, it is really bad. And the average inflation for Europe last year, for the Eurozone was 10% last month, all right? So in September, inflation in Europe was 10%. That is insane. That is unsustainable. Who can keep up with that kind of price increase, all right? This is madness. This is madness. So 10%. So this is why people are freaking out. And everything changed on October 1st. That's why there's all these protests. They were hoping that people could come to an agreement, that they would figure something out, but the government pretty much has no other choice than to raise the energy cap, or to raise the price cap on energy prices. So people are walking around with signs saying things like this. They're saying, "Can't afford to live, freeze profit, not people," and quote, "eat the Tories," all right? I'm not saying any of this. I'm just saying people have signs that say that stuff. So this is what somebody was saying. "Millions of us simply won't be able to keep our heads above water, and many will freeze when the weather turns cold." All right, it's already turning cold here. I'm wearing a sweater constantly. There's snow on the mountains. All right, it's already cold here. There's snow on the mountaintops. All right, it's already getting cold here. And what people are doing, they're gathering en masse in over 50 cities in the UK and burning their electricity bills, all right? Maybe they should save their bills for, you know, when it gets cold, because they might need that paper, all right? But I get it. I get how they feel for the protest as well. As people are reaching a breaking point, all right? And let me break down the cost for you. So the average bill used to be 1,971 euros, which is about $2,200. And now it's been raised to 2,500 euros, and that's about $2,800, all right? So a $500 to $600 increase per year in their energy bill. And then it says next year it's going to be $6,500, all right? So that's an over doubling that they're anticipating for next year as well. So there's not really any silver lining in this for people, and that's why people are starting to freak out. They're starting to see, I don't have money to pay my bills. I don't have money to pay the gas, all right, to keep the heat going. It's like, what are people supposed to do? Lots of people are in fixed incomes. Lots of people are depending on retirement money or stock, you know, 401ks investment money, you know, investments in the stock market for their retirement. Sorry about that. I'm getting my words jumbled up here, but you know what I'm saying. A lot of people are depending on that, and then they're seeing the markets crash, all right? They're losing money left and right, and then they're also getting hit with energy bill increases. Did you get a $600 raise this year? I'm sure you didn't. And even if you did, if inflation's 10%, and you get a 5%, 7%, 8%, 9% raise. If you get a 9% raise and inflation's 10%, you still made 1% less than you made the year before, right? So hopefully, like, they're giving everybody raises, but I don't think that's a thing. I don't think that's going around. Companies are just giving out bonuses and raises to everybody right now. I think we're in a recession and everything is slowing down, and this is not going to be good for winter, right? What are people going to do? It's already crazy here. I'm looking at my propane tanks over here for the travel trailer. All right, I have two 7-gallon propane tanks, and it's like $65-$70 to fill these up, right? I think it's 30 pounds, 7 gallons of propane, so it's like 14 gallons total for the 2 tanks, and that's like $70 to fill it up. That's gone a couple weeks, right? Easily. And we try to be conservative with our heat and everything else, and our fridge is on propane as well, because a lot of travel trailers, RVs, have their fridge on the propane, so you're not draining your battery just to have your fridge on. But it drains it quick, right? It goes by quick. So fill up your propane tanks, guys. If you have extra money, get that filled up now, because it's going to hit Europe first, and then it's coming to the US. I was reading that the US has been exporting so much excess natural gas that we are going to see much higher prices coming this season, right? This winter season. So fill it up now before the demand really hits. It hasn't set in for a lot of people that winter's like almost here. It's really almost here. It's October. It was snowing. I'm telling you, there's snow on the mountaintops here. So get prepared now, guys. There's really not much time before winter. And if you are into gardening or anything like that, get your little greenhouse built now. All right, look in the cattle panel greenhouses. Those are very sturdy for wind, all that stuff. You can literally bury them in the dirt a little bit so they're extra sturdy. They're not going anywhere. Look into those. That's what I always used. I use those out in the desert in Colorado, out in the prairie where it's super windy. I had one of those and it held up pretty well. So, and that was with like 60-mile-an-hour winds, all right? Pretty intense. It had to be buried, but it held up. It didn't fly off into the neighbor's house, thankfully, all right? Because that was my biggest fear, is that I was gonna build this greenhouse, because it gets so windy out there. It was right on the edge of the prairie and the mountains, so it was very windy spot, and we would get 70-mile-an-hour winds. It blew my RV off of its stand, like the jack stands on the base, you know. I have it sitting on some blocks, and it blew it off the blocks multiple times. This happened twice. Blew it right off. Thankfully nothing happened. It just like kind of turned the wheels, you know, and blew it off, and it just fell off. Thankfully nothing broke, nothing was wrong, but you can have crazy wind. I'm rambling here at the end, but I'm just saying these cattle panel greenhouses hold up pretty good, all right? So if you bury them, you have to have it buried. I had mine buried like a foot in the ground though, and covered up to keep it from flying away, all right? Because that was my biggest fear, is just gonna fly into somebody's house, build this greenhouse, and it's gone. All right, most places aren't dealing with 70-mile-an-hour winds, but hey, if you're in the hurricane, maybe it would have been good if you had that. I had one of those in the years ago when we had terrible storms passing through in Florida. I was in Florida years ago, and I had to take the plastic off, but I was able to rip the plastic off really easily and just let the air pass through it so it didn't fly away or anything, because I didn't have that one buried, because it really wasn't a problem. But you could also put like T-posts in the corner, all the corners of them, to keep it extra sturdy, all that stuff. All right, I'm just saying, get ready for winter, guys. Winter is coming. Get your preps going. don't stop just because it's winter, all right? We need to have it. It's like a squirrel. We need to be like a squirrel or like a bear going into hibernation or something, all right? We need to collect all of our stuff and have it ready for winter, all right? That's what they used to do. We used to have all of our canned goods ready to go. Everything, all the harvest is in, everything's canned, everything's ready, everything's dried out. All the pumpkins, all the squash are all dried out. Now they're all staying in the root cellar for winter, all right? So we need to get this mentality back. Get it back, guys. Let me know what you're doing. And thank you guys for watching. If you guys want more prepper news, I'm posting all the time, 3 times a day. So hit it up down there, guys, if you want some more. And thank you guys for watching. You have a blessed day.